guys, Pastor Phil Yates from the Greater Sydney Conference. I hope you're doing well and you're keeping safe. There are people, however, around the world and in your community that find it hard to keep safe and stay safe, and find it hard to deal with the stress if they're in your community. Those people are called refugees or internal displaced people. Refugee Week has just passed, so we're still in it. And by the time this honour is released, it probably be just the end of Refugee Week. So we want to celebrate Refugee Week and how we can assist refugees. So we're going to do the Refugee Assisting Honour, which is awesome. Look, guys, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, click on the big red button, click on the bell, and that will give you an update when the new honour comes out. But listen, our first thing that we're going to learn about is what the word refugee means and what would force people to leave their home and countries. A refugee is someone who is forced to flee his or her country because of persecution, war, or violence. A refugee has a well-founded fear of persecution for reasons of race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership of a certain social group. Most likely they can return home, they cannot return home, or are afraid to do so. War and ethnic or tribal religious violence are the leading causes for refugees fleeing their countries. An internal displaced person is a person who is forced to flee his or her home but cannot flee the country, therefore is not under international law because they can't go over the international border, and therefore aren't eligible for aid, aren't eligible for the things that refugees are actually eligible for. So this is a worse situation. List the immediate needs that a refugee would need when they arrive in your country, and describe the feelings a refugee may have about the new language, culture, or environment. The first things refugees need are shelter, and then water, clothing, food, and possible medical attention. It can be overwhelming to come to a place where the language and culture and environment are different. So the language, you come and you have no idea what people are talking about. You have no idea what they're saying. And you know that it's going to be an uphill battle trying to learn this new language. The culture. People look at you different. And there are different signs and body language for different things that people do. And people say things that don't make sense. Even when you learn the language, they'll say things that don't actually make sense as far as the English language is concerned. I can think of hundreds of things Australians say that actually don't make sense in every other culture. And lastly, the environment. People can come into a new environment and actually have a lot more stress than the environment that they actually came from, because they can become sick because the environment's different. They might have come from a wet environment and they're into a drier environment. Might have come from a drier environment and coming into a wetter environment where it rains a lot more, and they find themselves with colds. They find themselves with sickness and are struggling medically. What are the organisations in your community that can assist refugees or immigrants? This is the first thing that we want you to do. Research in your community what are the things that can actually assist refugees and immigrants. That was the second thing. The first thing actually is to read Exodus 16, 1 to 17, and you'll notice in the worksheet that's the first thing. So read through that and highlight the challenges that the children of Israel faced when they left their home of Egypt and they went into the wilderness. That'll kind of give you a biblical example of what it kind of feels like to be a refugee. So that's the first thing. Second thing, what I mentioned before, find the organisations in your community that can assist refugees or immigrants. And you might want to go and, volunteer at some of them places and say, how can I help? Listen or watch to a presentation of an immigrant or a refugee contrasting the culture that they came from to their new culture and community that they find themselves in now. And take notes of this. We're trying to get a video attached to this one. So if there's not one attached, then look up one. It's fairly easy to find one on YouTube. But if we can attach one, we will attach it. And I'll give you a little note at the end of this video. Write a one-page report telling what you have discovered in completing the requirements to this honour, which aren't many, and give the recommendations of the way refugees can be assisted. So write a one-page report on those two things. When you've done that, you have done the honour. Guys, I really recommend that you get out there in your local communities, find out who your refugee families are, if there are any in your community, and assist them as much as you can as a family. Hey guys, Pastor Phil Yates again. Look, this is the clip at the end of the video. Stay tuned because we've actually got an interview with a real refugee here in Sydney. Her name's Yvette Nzima, and she is awesome. So listen to her story, and in the worksheet, write a bit down, and it's the last question. Cheers, guys. Bless you. Bye.
Hi Pathfinders, hi families, thank you so much. My name is Yvette Nzima, and I'm here just to speak to you about my experience as a refugee. So thank you for giving me this opportunity today.
Could you let the Pathfinders know what was life like in your previous country?
Yeah, so when I was young, when I was a child growing up, life was really good. Having my family around, having my mom and dad, being in a familiar environment, having kids to play with and share same activities. For example, like food, my favorite food is cassava leaves for those who've tried it before, and just like having fun as a child. So it was really great. I enjoyed it.
When did you become a refugee?
So things changed when I was around 12, going to 13 years old. That's when war broke out in Rwanda, because I'm originally from Burundi, but I was born in Rwanda. So during that time, we had to flee from Rwanda to our neighboring country, which was Congo. So things got really bad. We had to run away, and we had to foot miles and miles, to trying to look for a safer place. We saw people dying, kids losing their parents. There was a lot of hunger, unclean water, and people suffered. We suffered during that time. It was really sad.
When coming to Australia, what was it like?
So when we got to Congo, we stayed there because we went there and we became refugees. We went into a camp where we stayed in a tent. You can imagine how tough life was. So we stayed there for about 2 or 3 years. Then we moved from there to go and seek for a better place. We moved to Zambia. We were still refugees, but it was a little bit better because we could get some food to eat and probably go to school, some of us. So it was okay. I left, I would say, Zambia to come to Australia when an opportunity came for refugees to apply for resettlement. So that's when we applied as a family, and thank God we got the resettlement to settle in Australia.
What was the culture like in Australia?
So when we landed in Australia, it was really amazing. We always surprised when we got to Sydney Airport. We saw the light, we saw the people, different color, and everything changed. So we were all in an exciting mood, and things really changed. Though it was difficult at first because of the language barriers and the cultural issues, but we managed, and we had to adapt from zero level to slowly where we are up to now. So we thank God, and we had so much support. our church friends, our church family, and we had also support in the community. So Australia was really great towards to us.
What do our Pathfinders need to know about people coming to their country as refugees?
Well, I would say a lot of people who've had that experience or who've passed through that, as Pathfinders, we need to always remember to pray first, to pray for them and love them and support them whenever possible. So if you meet someone who's been through that, show them that kindness, show them that love, and a little bit, whatever you have, just share. I would say that's the most important thing as a Christian to do.
How can our Pathfinders help people coming as refugees?
Yeah, it's just to provide support and loving one another and praying. Because I remember back home when we were little kids, our mom used to remind us to pray always. Through prayer, then you have hope for a new future. And when we got here, we saw the hope, and thank God, God answered our prayers. So I really thank you so much, Pathfinders, and may God bless you. Happy Sabbath to you.
We need to look after these guys. It is Refugee Week. Guys, this has been the Refugee Assistance Honour. I hope you've enjoyed. Stay safe.